This is Terry Rozier, and you're listening to The Rundown with Desmond Johnson on Tobacco Road Sports Radio on WWBG 1470 AM.
Like to have everybody's attention for a moment.
There's a stat. I don't like bringing up stats, but there's one stat about the Panthers.
In the world is James Harden better scorer than Michael Jordan?
No, he's a more creative in that.
Traveling is not creative, Brandon.
He doesn't.
No matter what the score is, and they've said it themselves, whether they're up 10, down 20, whatever, they know they can turn it on whenever.
Why did you have to bring up the Cowboys in this conversation?
Lived in Texas for 2 years and just could not stand to watch Cowboys football.
All right, listen up.
Welcome to The Rundown. Here's Desmond Johnson.
And happy Saturday morning to the Triad, WWBG 1470 AM. It is The Rundown. I am your host, Desmond Johnson, joined by my illustrious panel from WFMY to Jaelen, Gilkey in the house, and the return of Larry Frank to Rundown and Tobacco Road Sports Radio. What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing this morning?
Hey, man, it's another day. I know you probably weeped light-skinned tears last night, but it is what it is.
Why am I weeping light-skinned tears?
Because your fellow light-skinned brother went down last night in flames.
No, it's all right because my allegiance to the Lakers overrides all that. So
which is crazy. But see, we have to do the math, right?
Yeah.
Your allegiance to the Lakers overpowers your love for Steph in the light-skinned brigade.
Yeah.
But your hatred for LeBron supersedes all.
I don't hate LeBron. Where is this narrative coming from? I don't hate LeBron. I hate the conversation that LeBron is the GOAT. I've never said I hate LeBron.
Your hatred for LeBron supersedes all. So cross cancellation out here, and I'm confused.
I followed this dude from Cleveland to Miami, back to Cleveland, and then he came to my Lakers, and I'm like, yes. I mean, I've followed LeBron his whole career. Like, I've had no problem with LeBron. I've had a problem with his fans that think basketball started in 2003. Like, that's really my only issue. It's like, it's almost like you can't like LeBron and like somebody else, like with some of them. Like if you give any kind of love to any other player, because now I'm seeing them shift their anger towards Steph, because Steph is starting to get a bunch of shine. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Steph no hate.
They're trying to push it. Like, it's like they do this thing. They push down on like other players' legacies in order to make LeBron look better, but they're not realizing they're making their whole fan base look bad by doing that. And it's like, I don't get down with that. I don't like that aspect of it. Actually, let's start off right there with Lakers and Warriors. I think Larry had a phone call or something. He'll be back in here in just a second. But Lakers Warriors last night, I was actually able to stay up and watch the entire game because I had to do East Forsyth Davy baseball at 7 last night, and that ended around 9:30 or so. So I was already up from calling that game. And shout out to East for having a good season. They were nationally ranked at one point at number 23 in the country for baseball, number 1 in the state. Fell last night 8-3 to Davy. This Davy team just had their number. They've lost to Davy. They lost 5 times this year. 3 of them were to Davy. So they just couldn't get over the hump with Davy. End of the year, half the team was seniors. 10 of them got scholarships going off to play baseball elsewhere. So, shout out to those kids. Softball actually advanced 1-0 in the 10th inning on a walk-off double. So they'll play Northwest Guilford Tuesday. Me and JP Monday will be out in Oak Ridge calling that game for you guys. Live on East Forsyth Sports Network. Do you think last night that that's the end of this Warriors team as we've seen it? Like this core? Like, do you think they move off of Draymond? Do you think I think they need to move off Jordan Poole. Like that dude, I don't even know. It felt like he didn't deserve to even get a check. Like he's just, what happened? What happened to him? Like,
well, I mean, it's just a culmination of, his entire journey, right? He was a second-round pick. Goes to the G League, battling, fighting for a spot for a couple years. Finally, is able to get that opportunity where he can shine. Shines on the biggest and brightest stage. We think he's the heir to the throne out there in Golden State. He gets his bag, starts talking crazy. And I mean, one thing I've noticed is as this season unfolds, it has become abundantly clear to me as to why he got punched in the face.
Yeah.
Abundantly clear.
So it shifted. It shifted from him being the victim to him.
See, I don't play that victim game. I don't do that. I need to know what's really going on. As wild as everybody says Draymond is, and how uncontrollable he is, he has never escalated to this point before.
That's true, actually. Thinking back on, he's never just squared up and punched somebody in the face.
Like
whole difference.
And for that to have taken place, especially during a closed practice setting, I do believe Jordan Poole on the agitator in this situation, and just kept poking until he got punched.
So do you think they keep Draymond? Because they're going to do something with this roster.
Yeah, something's gonna have to change. I don't see Draymond staying. I don't think this is just how the numbers work. Like I said, they just paid Poole, so it's going to be hard to move him now after the lack of return teams are going to look and see like they're going to get for this investment.
He don't play defense. He can't shoot.
And he got a bad attitude, man. Like
he
on the
got
court.
a bad attitude. Like
Bad
I saw
attitude
him shrug off Draymond going to the bench the other night, and Steph walked over to him. Was like, "Yo, we don't need to do that kind of thing." But he's making $35 million a year. Like,
and he's gonna make it right there in Golden State.
Yeah.
and so I think that's probably one of the worst deals, well, the worst deal that they've ever made as presently constructed with this dynasty. I don't see, of course, Steph isn't going to go anywhere. I think they'll find a way to keep Clay, but I do believe Draymond's going to go. And once Draymond goes, I think the whole thing is going to kind of go because he is the toughness. He is the edge. He is the voice of the team. So without Draymond, I don't see this Warriors team. They were trying to groom Kuminga to be that next piece. It doesn't look like he's going to be that as of yet. I mean, we still got an entire offseason to see.
It's crazy. It's crazy because this point last year, when Golden State won the whole thing, we were all looking at like, oh man, this is part 2 of the dynasty. This is going to be that second run the Bulls had. Like, they got to.
I was really rocking with Jordan Poole and loving everything.
Yeah, me too.
But just the way everything transpired this year and the way he's conducted himself this year as well as played, I realized that was a vital mistake in judgment on my end.
Larry, your thoughts? Did we just see the end of this Warriors dynasty last night in LA?
Yeah, and I agree with Jaelen. It was his mistake. There's no doubt about it. Happy to be back, guys. It happens with success. Every time we see a team, unless you have, maybe the Bulls are an exception to the rule, but every time you get this dynasty that we think is going to build, something happens where players don't get along. Everybody wants to be that individual. Everybody wants to be that guy. Everybody wants that recognition out there from the media. And, I've never been a Draymond fan. I'm not against him. I don't hate the guy, but I don't like the way he plays the game. I never have. And it just goes to show you there's a lot more involved than just having great players to win a championship. You have to get along. You have to play together. And it happened with the Lakers, a couple of years ago, didn't it? Where they weren't getting along. I forgot who it was, but when LeBron first got there and they couldn't win. Now look what they're doing. I mean, it's just a matter. I'm not a Damon fan. I think in the long run, I agree with Jaelen. The guy has talent. You can't knock that. But at the end of the day, this is a process that has to be taken by the Warriors. And hopefully for the Warriors' sake, in the long run, it makes them a better team.
Well, clearly they need some sort of size. Like they don't really have enough length to really defend. They're horrible on the road, which is what I never understood why people were trying to take them for last night's game. Like they were horrible on the road all year. Like that's not going to change magically because it's the playoffs. If anything's going to get amplified, the Lakers are undefeated at home. This Laker team, they're a 6th seed, but this is not the team that got that 6th seed. Like they literally flipped this roster at the trade deadline, and they're like one of the hottest teams in the league since. Like, I mean, the pieces fit. Like I'm sitting there watching this team, and I'm like, I love what they brought in. I love Austin Reeves. I love.
Well, how often has Jaelen and I said in the past that it's not the team with the best record going into the playoffs. It's the team playing the best basketball going into the playoffs. And you got to, like Desmond, you just said, from the trade deadline on, I don't know. I don't know records. I don't have numbers in front of me. But the Lakers have to be one of the better teams in the NBA since the trade deadline.
If they're healthy, and that's kind of where I wanted this first segment to go. If they're healthy, who's a better duo right now in the NBA than AD and LeBron? Like
we gotta stop there. That's an impossible feat. There's no way AD and healthy are in the same sentence.
Man, shout out to AD. Work. We give him so much hell, and he gets.
No, we don't give
at this point because he's not playing through it. He's playing through it though. It's not like he's missing playoff games. It's crazy to keep watching him fall down and grimace. And as a Laker fan, every time somebody breathes on this dude, I'm just like, Oh no!
It just appears that he has 3 season-ending injuries every game.
It does. And then, meanwhile, I think LeBron is not 100%. Remember, he had that foot injury and missed the
and then he
last
rolled that
season.
ankle again too.
Yeah, so
But you know what you're seeing, guys? What you're seeing now is something you haven't seen. Okay, it's not all about LeBron anymore. Although LeBron is the team. Don't get me wrong, LeBron is contributing to the team. But when he first got there, it was LeBron. Right now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to, I've admitted that I'm not the hugest LeBron fan, but he's not the sole reason why they're winning. If you don't have Anthony Davis right now, Austin Reeves, you mentioned, what a game he had last night. And don't tell me that 3-pointer at the end of the half didn't take a little bit of breath out of the Warriors right there. But he has a team of players around him now that are producing, where before LeBron's realizing, I can't do it all anymore.
Not at this age. It's year 20. He's 38. He's been banged up the last couple of years. So there's no way he's going to be able to, be that LeBron of 08.
I will say
2012 or anything like that. But I do think that he is the key cog to everything, right? He's the glue. He's the one that they all look at.
I
wouldn't even say the glue. I think he's still the engine, honestly. He's still
he's not out there. They're a different team. They can win with AD. And they were winning with AD when LeBron was
the
out.
leader.
Absolutely.
They want to follow him. They don't want to disappoint him. And they've said that before.
And shout out Lonnie Walker too, man. Lonnie Walker has been unbelievable.
He's been great.
Unbelievable. Second half of all of these games is going insane.
They just fit. Like they just I love Rui Hachimura. I love what his game and what he brings, his length. Like he's gonna be there's a couple of dudes they need to keep. And see, this is the problem with the Lakers since LeBron has been there. They'll get a group around him, like the group that was with him in the bubble with Rondo and those guys. They all fit like what they were trying to do.
They were older though. That was an older unit.
And that team,
these guys are a little bit younger and have more potential to be a nucleus that can continue to grow.
Because a lot of them are 1-year deals. Like Reeves is still like on a 1-year deal. I think Hachimura is on like a rookie deal still. Like their problem is that they never keep the core together. Like they let Rondo walk. They let
they beat the Nuggets.
Avery Bradley
go. Caldwell Pope. They let him go. They let the dude to the Bulls. I can't remember his name. They let him go. He was basically playing Austin Reeves' role before him. What was his name? He went to the Bulls. He picked up a bag with them. The Caruso.
People forget Austin Reeves, wasn't drafted. Austin Reeves was not drafted. He was undrafted. And now, can they beat the Nuggets, Desmond?
Yeah, I think they can. Actually,
I mean, if they got LeBron, they could beat the Nuggets.
Nuggets probably.
Well, understand the Nuggets are a different. The Nuggets are a different team. I got to watch them play a lot. The thing about the Nuggets that you don't see a lot in the NBA, and I don't know how often you guys have seen the Nuggets play, but every single guy on that team attacks the board. I mean, it's not the one guy dominating. Of course. I never can pronounce his name. Nicola. He always.
Yeah, I got problems with him.
But everybody gets that middle range number of rebounds per game. So that's the thing that could be the difference in this series is who wins that rebounding game, because this team attacks the ball. And if Los Angeles doesn't have an answer for them, it could be tougher than they expect.
I felt like the Nuggets were hoping the Warriors won because that would have been a better matchup for the Nuggets. Like there was
they don't have the size to match up with.
Yeah, they got the size. They can't push Jokic around. Now the Lakers can. They got the size to kind of do it. If to Jalen's point, if AD is out there, then they can do it. If something
they got that altitude up there too, so he might have an asthma attack or something. You never know what he got.
I was hoping for. I've said it before. I'm hoping for Lakers Celtics, and this is why. Actually, I'm kind of glad Jaelen opened it up with the whole "I hate LeBron" thing, because I really don't. Because what I really want is Lakers Celtics in the final. Because what I really, really want, all right, if y'all really want to have this conversation about LeBron being the GOAT, he's got to do these two things for me. Like for me to even consider it, he's got to win another ring in a Laker uniform. Because hell, even Wilt won one in a Laker uniform. But if he can beat the Lakers, if he can beat the Celtics in a Laker uniform. There's only a handful of Lakers that have even done that. Like they've met each other a bunch of times in the finals, but more often than not, the Celtics win when they see each other.
Well, let's correct that. Let's correct that, Desmond.
And get his 5th ring, doing it like that with this Laker team that was 2-10 to start off the season. That's a separator. That's one where you got to kind of sit back. Okay, now we are in legit. He's got some stuff on his resume that nobody has. Like that's a different vibe. Like. There's nothing better than the Lakers in the finals in June. Like There's nothing. There ain't nothing better than the Lakers. It just seems right. It's supposed to be. Like, if they get there, if LeBron is in the finals again and wins it with this team at 38, it's going to be really hard to be like, he can't be the GOAT. Like, at that point, I could be like, he could be. I'm still not saying I personally would give it to him, but I could understand people saying, you know, this is his resume. This is why I'm rocking with him. This is why I'm rocking with him. So for me, I want that closure for him for his career. I don't want his career to be like, just fade off into black or whatever. If he's going to play like this and he's going to win some stuff, let's go all out. You came to the Lakers to do this. This is why you play for the Lakers, so you can play the Celtics in June. You know what I mean? Like, that gives me goosebumps. Like, I want that to happen. Now, can the Celtics beat an 8 seed Miami Heat team that's like on fire right now? Apparently, I don't know. I don't even know if the Celtics are going to win Sunday against the 76ers.
Celtics going to win Sunday,
Game
man.
7. You think so? Is it in Boston, right?
Between Doc Rivers, his Game 7 woes, James Harden, due for another disappearing act, and just the overall attitude of the 76ers. They look so defeated after Game 6. Not even after. I would say probably about 3 minutes left of the fourth quarter. They looked like it was over, and it was still a 6-8 point game. You know,
they've been to conference finals since Allen Iverson, 2001.
Yeah, man.
22 years.
I don't see Philly, and I'm gonna be honest. I love, you know, the game that Embiid brings, but I do believe, you know, sometimes he has the tendency to clam up when it comes towards that end of the game.
Yeah.
Right. Especially in those bigger moments.
It's
him. I mean, between him and James Harden, they have too many similarities when it comes down to money time. Now, James Harden was at game 3. He was exceptional.
He's on fire.
Exceptional. Closed it out, 45 points. But I don't see that being the norm. I see that being more of an outlier.
Yeah, I've never been a big James Harden fan. I will confess to that.
Not in the playoffs. I love regular season James Harden, and I mean, ever since he got to Philly, I know his game's evolved and everything like that. When he got to Brooklyn, because he had to become more of a facilitator, but I think he needs to get back in that killer bag, man. He has to. If he doesn't give them 36, 38, 40 points tonight,
Harden?
Was that Sunday? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I don't see them
3:30.
winning. Sunday 3:30. Yeah.
Do you think during halftime of Warriors Lakers last night, I noticed a stark difference between the TNT Inside the NBA guys, their halftime show, and the ESPN halftime show. The ESPN halftime show makes me like punch the air, like when it's on, because it's not there. It's like all commercials. Like, it literally,
it's very quick.
They tease, they go to break, they come back for like a minute, then take a Toyota commercial break. One guy gets to speak. Like, if you add up all the minutes the ESPN halftime show it's probably like 7 minutes total, like spread out over like 4 commercial breaks. When you're watching it on TNT, those dudes get like 15 minutes, like, because they know everybody wants to see them. And it's like, it feels like a halftime show, and they all get to speak. They all get to make their points and counterpoints. Stephen A got on after the Knicks loss yesterday at halftime, and you can tell he's restraining himself because it was Friday night and it was on primetime. But he basically just said they need to trade Julius Randle. Like, Julius Randle.
That's what he said.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
That's not basically. It is what he said.
You got to get him up out of here. Trade for Dame Lillard or whoever. I didn't really pay too much attention to that series, but
he said even Karl Anthony Towns. I said,
yeah. I was like, dude, like, is it really that bad? Like, was Julius Randle?
Yeah, it is though. Yeah, it is. His attitude is so poor, man. Yeah. Like if he doesn't score, it's like he doesn't even want to play.
What in the world, man?
It's contagious, you know. When the guys look around and
what Stephen A was saying, like,
you're the highest paid guy on the team. You're supposed to be the all-star. You're supposed to be the leader. You're supposed to be the guy people look to when it's big moment time. But it's not even that you shrink. It's just you're indifferent because you're not making your step back 3. And mind you, you're really a power, a 3-4 combo forward. So it's like you should be trying to get to the basket more, but because you can only truly want to drive left and finish left. Now your only counter is step back, left hand 3-ball fadeaway. And I mean, you were in the 3-point contest, yeah, but that's really not your game.
No,
so
man, this dude was a top 5 pick. Go ahead, Larry.
And let me say this, if you guys can hear me. I know I went to my phone now because I had a bad connection.
Oh, we got you.
Yeah, but First of all, in that series, Jaelen, and I guess you watched the series as well as I did, but you got to give credit where credit is due. Nobody can tell me that Jimmy Butler's not a money player.
Yeah,
I mean, every single year in the playoffs, this guy shows up and is worth every dollar that you can spend to watch him. I mean, he's incredible.
He's underpaid, Larry.
Yeah, and you're probably right. But the one guy you were talking about experience and been there before that, you got to give some credit to and some love to. It had to be Kyrie Lowry last night. I mean, he took over that game. I mean, he was everywhere yesterday, and it just goes to show you how much experience does help when you get to the playoffs.
Absolutely right.
See, I was going to say, so like when I was talking about earlier, like duos in the NBA, you know, you got AD and LeBron in the West. I guess you say Jamal Murray and Jokic with Denver. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, Boston. I guess Embiid and Harden, Philly. And then Miami's what? Jimmy and Bam?
Nah, it's Jimmy.
Jimmy and Hemi. It's those two. Because Jimmy Butler, look, I know they're the 8th seed, but we said it before the playoffs started on the show. We didn't really think seeds were going to matter this year, like in the NBA, because of the way the whole thing was. It felt like a lot of the vets got hurt early in the season. So like teams like Phoenix and the Lakers and some of they were just kind of struggling. And like teams like
then you got Sacramento, you got Memphis, they're the top.
Young teams, they're the top, and nobody believed them. Like nobody believed Sacramento. Nobody believed Memphis does a lot of talking for a team that's never won anything.
Well, they had a lot of trouble with Morant also this year, so you have to add that into
suspensions. So yeah,
Dylan Brooks been exiled.
He did have, John Moran did have a tough year this year, man. Just dealing with just missing games. So
I mean, I kind of thought the vets would kind of take this back. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if we get a Lakers Heat rematch in the NBA Finals, like, but actually do it right this time, like, and actually be in Miami, be in LA, have crowds. Like, this is the first playoff series that LA's had since COVID where they're actually in. I'm not going to call it crypto Staples Center, when they're actually in the arena with their fans, like crypto.com, whatever it's called. It's Staples. It's the Staples Center. And like this is the first time they've had a chance to have a playoff run with this group in front of fans. And I think people have kind of forgotten that that bubble victory, there was like a 3-month gap from when they stopped the season to when they began it again in the bubble. And that helped that Lakers team because they were an older team, like Jaelen said earlier in the segment. They don't have that this time around. That Lakers Nuggets series starts Tuesday night. Thankfully, it's not a 10 o'clock start. I think it's like 8:30 because those.
But guys, I think you're handing this to the Lakers just a little too quick.
I'll admit, I do not know enough about Denver to give them the proper respect they probably deserve as a 1 seed. I do concede that. I do.
All right, so check this out, right? I think the key to Denver making it into the finals is going to be Michael Porter Jr. We know what Jokic is going to do. We know for the most part what Jamal is going to do. He had some inconsistencies throughout the playoffs and not being that, super dependable number 2, but everybody has games where they're off. So I'm not going to, shame him or down him for that because we know what Jamal Murray can do in the playoffs. But Michael Porter Jr. being that third option is going to be truly the key. So if he's able to score and not only score, but he's going to have to guard Austin Reeves. He's going to have to stop Austin Reeves from having these moments where he's seems like possibly one of the best players in the Western Conference when he just shows up and has these huge moments. He's gonna have to stop Austin Reeves, and he's gonna have to hit that board hard, as well as stay healthy. He's another person that has a tendency to get tweaked.
Yeah,
but remember, Jaelen, this is a team. This is a Denver team. If you watch them, I believe they're shooting right at 50% field goals for the year. They don't miss a lot of shots. I mean,
they get a lot of good ones. They take a lot.
And the one a player everyone's forgetting off the bench is this Bruce Brown guy. I mean, who's been playing really, really well for them. So it could come down to, like you said, which bench plays better that helps wins this series because we don't talk about the benches a lot, but when you look at this team, you said Austin Reeves. Okay, and I love the Austin Reeves story. I'm a big fan of him, but there's a reason why he wasn't drafted. There's a reason. Will that show up this series, or will it be the mistake they made by not drafting him?
He's playing with so much confidence, though, and LeBron, playing with LeBron. I will say this, and we got to take a quick commercial break. The NBA playoffs are just simply more fun when LeBron's teams are still alive, when they're still in it. Like it's just a better playoff. Like we've had a couple of these past years where they got knocked out early or didn't make it at all, and the playoffs just kind of felt like like whoever's left standing. But with LeBron, it just adds this level of intrigue and like I don't know, like he's one of the few. Steph is like this too, but there's only a handful of players where you're like, if they're still in it, like, okay, let's see what they do. So I'm geeked for Lakers and Nuggets. I think it's one of the better matchups the Western Conference could have had. And then whatever happens in the East, we'll find Game 7 tomorrow, 3:30 on ABC between the Sixers and the Celtics. Kind of expecting the Celtics to take that one. It's in Boston, and then Miami clinched last night. So the winner will face the 8 seed Miami and Jimmy Buckets. It's shaping up to be an interesting May going into June for the NBA Finals. So I can't wait to see what happens. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk NFL schedule release. I've got something I want to show you guys that came across my Twitter that I've watched repeatedly over and over again, and I cannot stop laughing at it. We'll take a look at that and look at some of the games that are going to be played this upcoming season. You're listening to The Rundown, WWBG 1470 AM and TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com.
You're listening to The Rundown with Desmond Johnson.
Looking to tailgate this summer? Stop by One Stop on the way. One Stop number 6, located just 1 mile west of East Forsyth at 2748 West Mountain Street in Kernersville. One Stop serves fresh fried chicken and our famous taters 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Feeding a crowd? Get 16 pieces of chicken and sides for just $27.99. Craving wings? Come try our new spicy breaded wings. Get a 5-wing meal with 6 taters and a roll for just $7.39. Now in regular hot ranch or spicy. One Stop number 6, 2748 West Mountain Street in Kernersville.
Pardon me, B-Dot here, and as the voice of the Greensboro Swarm, PA for the Hornets, and the 6th man of Carolina basketball, I do it all, just like Beamer Tire and Auto. Alignments, new tires, NC State inspections, oil changes, they do it all. And with 3 locations in High Point, Greensboro, and Kernersville, B-Dot and B-Tar, yes, we do it all. If you need details, visit BeamerTire.com.
Ideacom NC, a trusted telecommunications company with 60 years of experience in unified communications. Ideacom is about more than just phone systems. They provide a full range of communication solutions. Whether your business is big or small, from churches to schools to fire departments, depend on the best in cabling, phone systems, IT support, and more from Ideacom of Central North Carolina. Top-rated customer service that cares about your business needs. Check out all the host of solutions at IdeacomNC.com or call at 336-854-4455. Ideacom NC. Walkertown Auto Sales. Look no further when shopping for your next vehicle. Located in the heart of the Triad at 3076 Walkertown View Drive in Walkertown, Walkertown Auto Sales specializes in affordable and reliable used cars, trucks, and SUVs. They offer financing with good credit, bad credit, or no credit, with interest rates as low as 3.9%. With knowledgeable employees that are always willing to go the extra mile, you'll drive away with the car of your dreams at Walkertown Auto Sales. Check out the entire online inventory now at WalkertownAutoSales.com.
Back to The Rundown with Desmond Johnson.
Welcome back to The Rundown here on WWBG 1470 AM and TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com. It is May, which means we're getting closer to the end of Season 5. Rundown is actually the longest running sports talk radio program in the Triad, where our debut was January 19th, 2018. So coming up towards the end of Season 5. During the summer, actually, what I'm planning on doing, we're going to replay the huge 64-team NFL tournament that we did to crown the greatest NFL team of all time. You'll hear those segments each Saturday here in June and July after this week. In August, when we come back with brand new episodes, we're going to do a new tournament, probably be like a 2014 tournament for college football. We're going to crown the greatest college football team of all time. We'll have different panels that'll vote the same way. If you're not familiar with what we did, I was the judge. We'd have 2 judges on. They could range from Jaelen and Larry to B-Dot and Chris Lee. We just had random folks that would come through and debate, and I'd set up a whole 64-team bracket, all Super Bowl winners, plus some at-large teams that probably should have won and didn't, matched them up, seeded them up, And then we just went through it like the NCAA tournament, like for each game, and basically picked if both guys picked the same team or two different teams. I was the tiebreaker. More often than not, it wasn't. Got some surprises in it, some early exits. The 85 Bears come to mind. I'm still mad at Brandon Blakeney and Aaron Gabriel for kicking them out in the second round for some reason. I don't know why that happened, but we crowned I think it was the 1989 San Francisco 49ers, the greatest team of all time when it was all said and done. And it worked out, and we wanted to do one for college football. So we'll be doing that. We'll give you some details, and you'll get promo and stuff for that in August when we return. The NFL schedule release came out Friday, and I got to give it to the NFL. We're not even in season. Stanley Cup playoffs going on, NBA playoffs going on, Major League Baseball beginning of their season going on. So what does the NFL do? They drop a schedule release on a Friday, and then they just dribble out bits and pieces for like 2 weeks before the schedule release. So you have to talk about the NFL while all this stuff is going on. I saw some of the schedule release videos that came out, and I wanted to play this one because to me, this is the greatest schedule release video of all time. Like, to me, this is just great work by the Tennessee Titans. It's simplistic. There's really nothing fancy going on with it. But I just wanted to play this.
What the is that? St. Louis Rams.
Oh.
Lightning McQueen.
No. Oh, that's just the football logo.
The Boston Bobcats. No idea.
Cowboys, yeah.
Baltimore Orioles. This one is the Red Stallions.
49, 69ers, 49
No. It's a Pirates from the islands of the Caribbean.
Chester Cheeto.
Tigers, North Carolina Tigers. Texas. That's the Cowboys. Texas. Got that.
Yeah. Atlanta. That's Florida. Florida Dolphins.
Oh, Texans. Eagles. Pittsburgh. Who's that? Bulls? Who? Patriots? That's the Patriots logo. That it actually does not exist. That is Nashville, Tennessee.
Tennessee Titans.
Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans. Woo!
Tennessee Titans.
Tennessee
Titans.
Tennessee Titans. Wait, good job. Yeah.
Awesome. I've watched this thing.
All right. So I think my favorite one is the fact what they say the stars, the 69ers, the 49ers.
They're all like, no.
It says Steelers on the logo.
It says it on the logo.
It says it on the logo.
Stars? The North Carolina Tigers.
That was a decent guess. Also, that was tough too, because I mean that is actually a team. So just not football. And it's the right city.
I love
they both are birds. So it's like, okay.
Two separate people picked the Colts logo for the Cowboys, like because they played twice in the AFC South.
Horseshoe, I'm telling you, got them. Cowboys.
Like Dallas. That's the Cowboys. Oh my gosh, I've been playing that thing nonstop. Has the NFL figured this out in terms of like complete domination of sports? Because this is dominated talk. Again, NBA playoffs going on, Major League Baseball going on, Stanley Cup playoffs going on. And we're dedicating a segment to the NFL schedule release. We already knew the teams. They gave us the teams like the end of last year. We already knew who these teams were playing. We just didn't know when they were. And it just feels like they just know how to do this. They go tit for tat with the NBA because the NBA does this in the summer. Like after the finals are over, their free agency period, they've turned that into like what this is, where like they dominate the conversation for like the month of June and July. Well, July 1st, I think is when it opens up. And for the past couple of years, we didn't know who was going where. And it's become this big, huge thing. where they take that part of it now. And I noticed this past year, usually the NBA owns Christmas, right? Christmas Day is kind of like the de facto. Everyone kind of thinks of this the unofficial start of the season. Everybody else kind of avoids it, except for the NFL. NFL's like, nah, bro, we're gonna put on games. We're putting games on Christmas. Y'all gonna have to deal with it. And they did that last year where they had them on. I think they have them on Christmas Eve this year. So these two go back and forth. The 10 best games on the schedule from what we saw released on Friday. The Jets and the Patriots play week 3. I'm curious about the Patriots because it's getting, as we get further and further away from Bill and Brady being together, it's starting to feel like it was more Brady than it was Belichick, don't it?
Well, the Jets keep getting better. Meanwhile, the Patriots have what I'm calling this demise. You know, they were bet very high on what Mac Jones, who to me hasn't really proven anything. I mean, not that it's easy to go in and, you know, take over for Brady, but I don't think right now, I think some of the quarterbacks that are coming out of college right now are better than Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. He kind of rode the wave 2 years ago of these quarterbacks getting pushed up higher and higher in the draft. And there's a reason why the Patriots didn't trade up for him. He just fell in their lap, really. Sports Illustrated has Falcons-Panthers week 1, September 10th, as one of their games to watch. And basically have it on here as the two teams basically deciding to build teams in two completely different manners. The Falcons have decided to not trade up for a franchise QB. They're kind of building the team around that position without actually having that position there. Because I don't think Desmond Ritter's the answer. The Panthers have gone the traditional route, trading up. I think a lot of people forget, even though the Panthers had the number 1 pick in the draft, they weren't the worst team in the league. Like, they were a game out from winning their division. So, like, they were kind of set up to make a couple of moves and see what happens. And that's kind of what they've done to this point. They had rookie minicamp yesterday. I had David Glenn and Candace Cooper on franchise players yesterday, and we were talking a little bit about that. And Jim Zoki was driving to camp. So they finally got a chance to see Bryce Young in a Panthers uniform that wasn't photoshopped on. Week 2, Jaguars Chiefs. The Jags are interesting. Trevor Lawrence is interesting. That division is interesting.
Calvin Ridley's back too.
Yep.
Calvin Ridley's back too. He hadn't played in 2 years, so
yeah,
he should be 100% healthy and ready to go.
They built a good team over there in Jacksonville.
I think so too. I think they can win the South. I mean, just thinking on it. I mean, who was it? Houston, Tennessee,
Indianapolis.
Yeah. It depends on Anthony Richardson, I guess, and how they, bring him up.
They don't really have pieces, man. I mean, they got Jonathan Taylor still, but they don't really have. I mean, I like Pittman, but they don't really have a receiving core. They don't really have. They got the. I can't remember the tight end's name. Jelani something.
Oh,
he's a big target. Jelani Woods. Jelani something. But he's a big target, but he's still kind of improving. So, I mean, I don't really see the Colts being much of a threat this year. I do think Houston is going to make a good turnaround this year. I think they'll be strong.
Better.
I think they'll be strong this year because, I mean, they've been the last 2 years. Yeah, they haven't won many games, but they've been in a lot of games. And I think CJ is going to come in and be a better talent than Davis Mills, and so I think he'll be.
And they don't have a tough division. I mean, look at it. The Jaguars, yes, but Tennessee has fallen down. I mean, they were favored to win it last year, and look what happened to them. Indianapolis is in disarray right now, so it's really I believe it's Jacksonville's to win or to lose, because Jacksonville right now, if you had to put $1 on it, I would definitely go and say Jacksonville has to be the favorite to win that division, right?
They got Sports Illustrated got number 4, Eagles 49ers week 13. It's December the 3rd. Interesting game. Sam Darnold now a 49er. What are they going to do with Trey Lance? Because I think they've said Brock Purdy's the starter going forward, didn't they? The 49ers, Mr. Irrelevant. So, like, what do you do with Trey Lance? Do you try to trade him? Do you try to keep him and make him the backup? Like,
well, I mean, I don't think Brock's going to be ready for the season. He got hurt real late.
Yeah,
in the
what
playoffs.
was his injury? I can't remember what his
injury. He
injury.
Had a torn ACL. He had to have Tommy John.
Oh, yeah.
He had a torn UCL. Excuse me, not an ACL. Torn UCL.
It takes a good 9 months to 12 months easily.
And I know the return is shorter for football because of the throwing motion is not as violent as it is with baseball. But it's still going to be at least 6 months. At least 6 months. And I mean, he went down in January.
Is Jalen Hurts the best quarterback in the NFC? which sounds
NFC.
it sounds strange, but that's what I'm like. I'm trying to think of who's in the NFC.
I would say
I think
Is he better than Prescott?
Yeah.
Okay. So who else is there? Who else is there in the right? Who else is there?
Exactly.
Prescott. I saw.
That's what I'm saying. There's no dominant
interceptions in like the past 22 games or something nuts. Like, or it was actually more than that. It came out to like 3 a game or something crazy. Prescott, this might be a prove it year for him because his extension's coming up too. And I don't know.
Prove it or lose it.
Yeah, and they might get out of here.
Hey, I'll tell you who to watch out for in the NFC. The quarterback to watch out for. And I said it last year during the draft, actually on this show, that I thought the best quarterback to come out of the draft was Sam Howell of North Carolina. And you know what? In that last game, and I know it was the last game of the season versus, with Washington, but he had an unbelievable game. I think the breakout quarterback this year could be Sam Howell.
I wouldn't be surprised. I like Sam at UNC.
I mean, them being in the division as well, I just don't see them being able to
overtake
anything. Because I know the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys are still going to win 10 games. They got the guys that do it.
They got a defense,
but they always find a way to lose. The Cowboys.
The Cowboys.
I don't know what it is.
You got to remember the Giants made the playoffs. The Giants made the playoffs and won a playoff game last year. So
they gave Daniel Jones a bunch of money too. That I'm still kind of shaking my head at. Like, it's your money.
I'm with.
They gave him. What did they get? He got like 30 million, 35 a year, something like that. Like 140 million over 4 years.
He's up there. They still like pay Saquon. So,
and I'm going to tell you right now, guys. And I know you guys will disagree with me on this one, but I think everybody in Carolina is just getting a little bit too excited, a little bit too quickly. They have Bryce Young being the Messiah right now.
Who does that sound like? Oh, Larry, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show.
And let me explain why. He's never played an NFL game, and I don't know how much you guys got to watch him in college. I'm a big college football fan, so I got to watch him a lot. Under pressure, he's not the best. And this is not college football. I said under pressure, meaning when he gets pressured by other people. Well, it's different. You got much faster, much bigger in the NFL. And I'm not saying that he's not going to be a great quarterback. Let me make sure I emphasize that. I'm just saying we're expecting too much too quickly out of Bryce Young, and it's going to take a little bit of time before he excels. And I said it last year, Desmond, you said it too, and I think Jaelen said it. They're a quarterback away from being a playoff team. Well, doesn't mean that the quarterback right away is Bryce Young. He's going to be Bryce Young to start, but it's not going to be the guy that doesn't make mistakes, that doesn't have to go through a learning process. I'm different than you all, and you guys know I love the Panthers to death, but I only have them going 9-8 this year.
Check this out, Larry. I'm gonna be honest.
Made changes.
Let me tell you what.
I was with you
before you get there, Jaelen. Before you get there, I got him 6-2 at home and 3-6 on the road. And I'm telling you right now that it's a very simple formula if you want to make it in today's NFL into the playoffs. You have to have a winning record both at home and on the road, and you'll make the playoffs because that'll be 10 wins. Usually, I know there's instances. 10 wins will get you a playoff, but it's very rarely that a team will go 7-1 at home now with this schedule. The AFC, I think, has 9 games at home and the NFC 8, but whatever it works out, this year we have 8 home games. We have 1 more away game than we do home game. And the chance, I'm just saying, I want more, I want better, I'm rooting for it, but I think everyone's expected, just needs to calm down a little bit because and then the good thing about the Panthers this year, they're in a division where people are going through changes. The Buccaneers have a quarterback change, okay? Is it Kyle Trask? Is it the guy that played for Baker Mayfield, who I don't think could throw an egg and hit us, okay? But at the end of the day, if they win the division, it's not because, is it going to be because of Bryce Young or is it going to be because of the division they're in and the weakness of that division?
I think a little both. There would have to be a little both.
Okay, so check me out, Larry. I'm with you. I think the only thing I'm going to push back on is the fact that you say that from what you saw, and I know this is your perspective and your opinion, whatnot, that Bryce Young did not excel under pressure. I'd say that is probably where he was strongest as a quarterback at the University of Alabama. Now, usually at the University of Alabama, the conditions are perfect. You got
massive
5
overload.
offensive linemen that are going to go in the first 2 rounds. You got 3 wide receivers that are going to go in the first round as well. This year, Bryce Young did not have that. And with that being said, he was under pressure more than I think any other quarterback has been since Nick Saban has been the coach at Alabama. And as well as he doesn't really have a number 1 standout guy that's going to be a clear-cut first-round pick to throw to on the outside. Now, he had Jahmyr Gibbs to lean on.
How about his size, Jaelen?
Now, the size is a bit questionable, but I do believe that he is kind of like Lamar in this sense, is the fact that he doesn't take a lot of big shots.
He knows when to get down.
He knows when to get down, how to get down, when to just take his loss. And I think that is going to take him further in his career and help extend his career more than anything. And like I said, he is very, very tricky in that pocket. He might not be super, super fast, but he's quick. He makes good decisions, and he's elusive, which is the ultimate goal is just to
see. I don't think he's the best quarterback to play in the end. I mean, to come out of this draft that could show me the most in the NFL. I don't think it. I like him. I love watching him.
Who'd you like?
You know what? And once again, I said Sam Howell last year. I'm going to go back. It's between 2 guys. Number 1 is Will Levis of Kentucky. When you talk about a deep ball and who can throw that ball and who can hit that home run, I don't think there was a better quarterback in college football than that can do that. Now, does he have the scrambling abilities that Bryce Young has in that, tricky in the pocket? No. But another guy to watch out for, and the only thing that scares me about the other guy, I would pick him right up there too, is I think he's not as what we call football IQ as maybe a Bryce Young and some of these players, is that Anthony Richardson guy out of Florida. I think those 2 guys have the arm strength to be, and we're not looking with the size and the arm strength. Those 2 guys, in my opinion, fit the model of what an NFL quarterback should be. Now, whether the talent comes out and they prove it is another story.
Okay, so I got a bunch to react to here from what both y'all just said. Starting off, I agree with Jaelen. I didn't see enough of Bryce to make a definitive decision, but I've seen enough film.
So how can you agree with him?
Well, I've seen enough. I've had to watch film on him because I've done like 50 Panther podcasts in the past.
Film doesn't show everything. It only shows highlights.
True, but you can also see flaws in there too. And like you can see tendencies. You can see, little things that quarterbacks have. Bryce seems to be the one that processes info the fastest out of all these quarterbacks, which allows him to not get hit a whole lot. Like I just spent like a decade watching Drew Brees throw this ball out in 2 seconds and hardly ever get hit. And he was little too.
So what makes you say that, Desmond, about Bryce?
What makes me say what? That he seems to process faster?
Yeah, you can see it in his anticipation in the throws.
It's some of his throws. Yeah, it's like he can throw guys open. Like not all these guys can throw guys open. They throw it to a spot. And like he seems to anticipate before the receiver even turns around where he's going to be. Not where he's supposed to be, but like in that play where he's going to be at. He seems to not.
But does he have the receiving core to make him successful? Okay, you got Thielen, who was not really in my opinion, wasn't even the first.
Will Levis doesn't have anybody to throw to in Tennessee.
Right. But Justin Jefferson.
This is probably one of the more full wide receiver rooms I can remember in Carolina.
Out of all the rookies,
I don't know.
Rookie-wise.
But you got Adam Thielen.
They drafted Jonathan Mingo. They've got Laviska Shenault, which might get switched to like a.
He's a backup.
He's switched to like a hybrid.
He's a big play guy. He's a big play guy.
Yeah,
Terrence Marshall Jr., who was on that LSU team with all those dudes that Jamar Chase, Joe, like all of them. The ones that scored 1 billion points in 2019, he was wide receiver 3 on there, and he started to emerge the last 4 or 5 games of last year once they took the reins off of the offense and PJ or whatnot.
But you know who's going to be your major receiver on this team this year? And I watched him, and he does have a tendency to drop some footballs, but he also has tendency to make some. Is Chalk, DJ Chalk, is going to be one of you. And then you got Hayden Hurst.
Yeah, and Hurst is the tight end. They've got dudes to throw the ball to. Like I'm not worried about that. Like they've got. Matter of fact, they're going to have to cut some guys because they've signed Shi Smith. They've kept a couple. Some of those dudes are going to play like kickoff returns, punt returns. That kind of be the punt return.
You don't have a 1,000-yard receiver on the team.
I would say Terrence Marshall Jr. could be a 1,000-yard receiver. I really
he could be. He could be, but he isn't.
We don't have
know.
one on the roster right
does he-
now, but they
does he
clear the
even have
roster out.
500 yards? in his
That's what I'm
career?
saying. That's like you saying the Hornets are going to win the championship next year in the NBA.
That's
I
not
mean,
the same thing. That's another thing I was going to say. You're talking about expectations or whatnot and all that. Before you even get to that, you're talking about the size of Bryce Young, him being like 5'10". PJ Walker was 5'11", and I never once heard anybody say anything about PJ Walker's size. So I'm not really worried about Bryce. He's been that size.
But he wasn't intended to do what Bryce Young is.
What is Bryce?
That's
Young
not a fair assessment.
They're both attempting to win games. They're both attempting to win games.
Let me jump in there, Des. I got some points for you. Points for you.
Save them.
Nah. So you say you like Will Levis, right? Now check this out. Will Levis started his career at Penn State. Couldn't beat out Sean Clifford, who didn't even get drafted. Then he gets to Kentucky in 2021. Throws 13 picks compared to the 12 total picks that Bryce Young threw in 2 seasons as a starter. So the decision making is clearly better. I would say, we could say the situations are better, but again, the last 2 years at Bama haven't been the same as we come to know, and it's not like the same situation that Jalen Hurts had, Tua had, or Mac Jones had. So for Will Levis to have 13 picks in 2021 alone, and for Bryce Young to only have 13 picks in his 2 years as the starter.
What did he have last year?
Who? Will Levis? He still had 10.
Yeah.
He had 10 last year. Bryce Young
had 6, right?
Bryce Young had 7 in 2021 and 5 in 2022. And I would say their team regressed from 2021. I mean, from 2021 to 2022. So I would have, he showed maturity, anticipation.
But Jaelen, isn't there more than interceptions when judging a quarterback?
I mean, yeah, there's maturity, leadership,
decision
making,
arm strength, speed.
I mean, arm strength can only get you so far. If you throw the
ball,
ball,
you can throw
the ball a million miles per hour, and if you throw it to the single high safety at 300 miles per hour, it don't matter.
Accurate.
There's a reason why he dropped out of the first round. Like, and it's not his athleticism or anything like that. It's the way he was in these interviews with these teams. Like he rubbed all 30 teams the wrong way.
Banana with the peel on, brother.
What is that about?
That's poor decision. That's poor decision making.
Man puts mayonnaise in coffee and drinks it. Like, I'm not letting him lead anything. Like you go.
You don't care if he wins.
He don't win. Where did he win? He didn't win a job at Penn State, and he didn't win at Kentucky.
He didn't even win his job. Like, he had to go someplace else.
Okay,
Like,
technically, how many times did Alabama win the championship while Bryce Young was there? Once?
Once, yeah. He was the starter for, 2 years?
Yeah, he started the last 2 years.
I mean, he's behind
They didn't win the championship while he was the starter.
Well,
while
actually,
he was there, they did win the championship.
His freshman year was behind Mac Jones. But Mac Jones was throwing for like 80.
I'm just saying, guys, it's fine.
Back to your question about Terrence Marshall. He had 28 receptions for 490 yards last year. But keep in mind, the first 6 games of the year for the Panthers were under Matt Rule still, and Marshall wasn't even getting on the field.
He got 628 yards in the career. Okay,
total in 2 years. Yeah, but he didn't play. Matt Rule didn't play him his rookie year, 2021. In 2022, he was buried on the bench. He didn't start playing until Wilkes started putting him out there. And even then, when Wilkes was the interim, they weren't really throwing it. Remember, they were running for like 180 yards or whatever on teams.
Thielen is a good leader, a good veteran.
Yeah, I like
Thielen in the locker room. I don't think he's Adam Thielen of 2015 or whatever. Exactly, he's a chain mover. I like Laviska because he's got big play.
And I do like him too.
Yeah, big play potential. He doesn't really run a lot of routes. He's either bubble screen or 9 route. That's pretty much what they've shown us so far.
He's Cordell Patterson.
I still
Patterson pretty much.
Nah, dog. Cordell Patterson got the most kick return touchdowns in the history of the NFL.
Or is that the guy? That's the dude that's playing kind of slash running back for the Falcons.
Yeah, that's Cordell Patterson.
I'm not saying he is him. I'm saying he's basically that type
watered
of
down Cordell Patterson.
Yeah, he's a poor man's Cordell Patterson. I'll give him that. Now Terrence Marshall's only 22 years old.
I still
think 6'3" and runs a 4.40. Like,
I think your boys still need another weapon.
What about Mingo?
For sure. Now we can see. Now that the jury, we have no information on Mingo. I mean, the tree of Ole Miss wide receivers has been strong.
They're calling
him AJ Brown.
Yeah,
but I think he might be more of a Treadwell.
I don't know. And see, and that goes back to my original thing with Larry, where you were saying Panther fans need to temper expectations. I don't know what my expectations are. Like, I haven't seen this team play each other.
I mean, your expectations every year are the same, which is
I don't know.
ridiculous.
No, it's not. I don't know what the offense is. They haven't even installed it. I kind of have an idea of what they're doing defensively from what they've said in conferences. They're kind of running like pretty much a nickel like the entire time. They're gonna have a lot of defensive backs out there. And they'll be in a 3-4, which I am intrigued about because they're moving.
And they got Von Bell.
But they have Von Bell. They've got pieces. Like, they've picked up pieces. They were only really a couple pieces away at the end of last year, and then they completely revamped the offense. You bring in all these coaches. Like, I mean, they're equipped to do something. Now, will they? I have no idea. Will I be surprised if they do? No, because the coaching staff is experienced enough where they should be winning games with the names are on this coaching staff and what they've done. I don't know about Bryce yet. I felt comfortable with him right before we drafted him. I settled on him. I'm cool with I'm still the size thing. I'm still kind of but I feel confident enough that they'll protect him. The offensive line is a top 10 offensive line. The defense was a top 10 defense the past 2 years. So they've got things there. So it's not weird to expect the Panthers to at least get to where they were last year with all the controversy and firings and injuries and everything else, trades and everything else that happened in the middle.
But what's wrong with my 9-8? That's better than last year.
Because of the division they're in. And you said it in your answer that the division they're in is in such a flux that they should, in theory, win way more than that just off of their division.
Okay, can they sweep Tampa Bay twice?
Good. Can they?
They're not going to sweep Tampa Bay.
I think Baker going to clip y'all one time at least.
Who?
I think he'll clip y'all at least once.
Man, that would be the worst.
No, it's going to happen. I mean,
he gets.
I don't know which game it's gonna be. He gonna clip y'all once, and y'all gonna be sick. And he gonna come out and he gonna plant the flag right at the 50.
We got him like there's a 3-game road stretch we have where Tampa's in there. If he is playing at that point, then we might see him there. I don't know. I think I've got him around. I haven't even really looked at the schedule to do win losses. I kind of save it for the end of the summer after I kind of get a chance to see the team. But I push back on the whole expectations. The Panthers fan base has been punched in the face the past 3 years. Like, we don't have expectations at the moment. We don't know what's going to happen. We have hope. Hope is different.
Hey guys,
was dancing.
Yeah, you want to talk about the NFL schedule a minute? I want you guys to listen to a couple of facts that I found out real quickly, if you don't mind. The Jets played 10 games on their home field this year. 10 because they played the Giants, one of them, and the AFC plays 9 home games. The other thing is, you guys were talking about the Giants and how they did last year. Hold back a little minute. The Giants play 7 of their first 10 games on the road. 70% of their first 10 games are on the road. And then the Rams and 49ers, they face 4 teams coming off buys.
I still don't like the Rams. I don't think they
I don't either. I'm with you.
Anything to get better.
They sold their soul to get that ring, pretty much.
Yeah, and I mean, they still going out there. Matthew Stafford, he gonna throw the ball to Cooper Kupp and Cooper Kupp only, and that's just what it's gonna be.
It's kind of
But
crazy.
7 of the first 10 games on the road. That's a tough. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're supposed to do with that. We're actually up against it. We got to noon pretty quick, fellas. I think we might be back next week. If not, we'll start the Rundown's greatest NFL team of all time bracket. You'll hear that in this time slot. Make sure you check out Franchise Players live new every Friday, 5:00 on WWBG 1470 AM. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peace.